Have you ever left in the middle of a date? If so, why? He turned up drunk and brought pictures of his time in Iraq in the army with him that he took me through painfully slowly, one by one. I politely excused myself to go for a cigarette and he lost it. Accused me of being rude, shouting about how no wonder I was single, and then sat on my coat so I couldn't run away, saying that even if I did leave, he would follow me and make me sorry. He also goes on a rant about how all graduates are entitled dickheads. He doesn't agree with women going to uni, and that I'm a middle class CNT. He had insisted on paying for my drink. So when I came back and I said I wanted to go, and he insisted that I owe him a drink, cause he was going up Camden to meet his mates and didn't want to be behind on the drinks front. Fine. Whatever. He's clearly insane. I'll just buy him one to shut him up, then I can leave. At the bar, he begins throwing ice at the barmaid when her back is turned. Then when she turns around accusingly, points at me and says she did it. The barmaid and I both know that it was him. After he has his pint in his hand, he goes back to the table, and I confess to said barmaid that I'm on the worst date of my life and want to run away. She pours me a shot of tequila, tells the bouncer to distract him, then helped me run away. As he banged on the window and shouted, "I'll find you," ran home, sobbing like a lunatic. I met a guy on Grindr. Turns out his profile picture was 10 years out of date, and he was about 100 pounds heavier. But I decided to give it a chance anyways, because I didn't want to be rude. His first question was if I liked to drive my car barefoot. Then he complained that his dinner smelled like niggers. I left immediately. Yes. We met at a nicer restaurant, sat down and had a decent conversation. We started to look over the menu and the wine list. I asked if she had a preference regarding the wine. She said no. I ordered a bottle of Pinot Grigio, since I didn't know her preferences or what she might order. Kind of a nice middle of the road selection. When it came, the waitress brought 2 glasses, did the usual tasting, and when she went to pour my date a glass, she quickly declined. The waitress poured me a glass and left. I asked her if she'd prefer another drink. She launched into what I can only describe as a temperance lecture. She was stridently anti-alcohol and my ordering wine had clearly upset her. This was a first date, so I had no way of knowing any of this, and had she let me know her thoughts ahead of time, say, when I asked her preference or when I was ordering, I'd have gotten something acceptable to her. Instead, I was getting a lecture that would not stop. I got called a drunk and rude and insensitive repeatedly by someone I just met in the course of about 5 minutes. After a few minutes, the waitress came over and asked if everything was okay. I told her no. Told my date that our date was over, and asked the waitress if I could be reseated at the bar. The waitress and my date both looked shocked. My date picked up her sweater and purse and stalked out. I picked up my glass. The waitress picked up the bottle and led me to the bar. In the bar, I met a very nice young lady with different ideas and we shared the bottle and a very nice evening. Had been on a couple of dates with this guy. At his place, watching a movie. He climbs on top of me. I tell him I'm not comfortable. He does it again, adding, "I like shy girls." Date over. He brought another girl with him. On a date with this girl from the local college, things are going alright at first. She's looking for something purely physical, to which I had no objections, so she suggests we go back to her place. The apartment is kind of a rat hole, sparsely furnished. Her burnout roommate is rolling a blunt on the coffee table in their dimly lit living room by himself. Empty 40 bottles all over. Still, no objections. I can get down with some grimy punk rock it, to an extent. So we go to her room and start making out. She puts on some music. We begin taking our clothes off. Just when things are getting really hot, she excuses herself to the bathroom. She's gone a while. Maybe 5 minutes. So now I'm getting bored. I get up, start checking out the books on the shelf. Then I step on something and it sticks to my foot. I pick it off. It's a little 2 inches square of tinfoil. All burnt on one side. Then I notice the used up tea candles in the trash. And the spoon. Q-tips and steel wool on the desk. It's not subtle. This chick is a junkie. I'm still waiting for her to get back from the camp so I can politely excuse myself. When it occurs to me she's taking so long she's probably passed out. I go knock on the door. No reply. Knock again. What the fuck? I'm almost done. I know what you're doing in there. You there? So what? You can't judge me. You're making it pretty easy to judge you. Actually. Oh, go duck yourself. Great idea. Enjoy your heroin. I can hear her scrambling to put her kit away and clean her it up. But there's really nothing left to be said. I go back to the bedroom. Put my shoes on. And casually leave through the window so I won't have to say anything to her creepy roommate. She starts blowing up my phone almost immediately. Where are you? What street are you on? Come back. Let's talk. It's NBD, I'll pick you up. She had given me a ride there. And was now driving around looking for me. Thankfully. A close friend of mine lived on that same block. And he was home. So I just walked in Kramer style and explained the situation. Hi dude. Sorry to bother you. My date's on a bunch of dope and is following me around trying to convince me to give her the D. Can I hang out here for a half hour? Never heard from her again. Friend gave me a beer. Edit. Holy it. Gold. It's my first time. I'll never forget you. It was an Cupid date and we met for coffee after talking a while. He had a sour look on his face when I got there. So I wasn't expecting too much. When our coffee came out, he said, I'm glad you didn't ask me to pay for that. Because I don't think you should be drinking something with that many calories. I'm a fat person, but he was way fatter than me. So I thought he was being self-deprecating. I was prepared to roll my eyes and let it go. But then he ranted for about 15 minutes about how women were getting too fat and how they should be pressured to lose more weight. Eventually I stopped him with the "You saw my picture. Why did you even agree to coffee?" His answer was, "I was hoping you had lost weight since the picture was taken." Because no one would put themselves on a dating app in that condition. She would not stop talking about babies. Her friends had them. Her sisters had them. Her brothers had them and made sure it was perfectly crystal clear. She did not have one. Yikes. It was the second date. He was complaining because I wasn't wearing a low-cut top. So duck him. I straight up left. Picked up a girl for a first date. On the drive to eat she's tapping away on her phone a few times. Get to the place to eat. Sits down. Tapping away texting. A few minutes later. Texting again. I excuse myself to use the bathroom and leave. In trying to make a point about why feminism is awful during a first date, he asked me if I'd rather be raped or sent to prison for 20 years. Not exactly sure what he was trying to explain there. But I left instead of answering. OkCupid date. Emailed back and forth. Had some common interests. Seemed like we would get along. We met up and got food. A couple drinks. Seemed to be getting along well. Then he starts talking about how good he is at karaoke. He's been in contests and won first place. He and his friends go all the time. etc. I tell him I've only done karaoke a few times. When very drunk and with a big group of friends. I also mention that I'm pretty sure I'm tone deaf. He tells me there is a karaoke place only 1 block away. I tell him I'm not interested. He tells me you get your own little booth. No one else will even hear you. You can pick whatever songs you want. No waiting while other people sing. It's clear he's not giving up. So I grab 2 shots of vodka and say fine. I'll try it. We go to the karaoke lounge and get our booth and he does 3 or 4 songs perfectly. I start my first song and he starts criticizing me. And pointing out what I'm doing wrong while I'm trying to sing. Then he picks up the other mic and starts singing over me. I say duck this and just get up to leave. He chases after me and tells me I need you to pay for half of this. It's $60. I look in my wallet. Take out the only cash I had and said here's $20. And you can go duck yourself. Then he follows me to the bus stop and tried to make idle chit chat while I wait to get the duck away from him. Edit. Thanks for the gold. Met a guy online who lived about an hour away. We agreed to meet up closer to me and he told me he was just going to stay in town that night. I figured he had friends here or whatever. He gets to the date and he is clearly about 15 years older than his pictures represented. I figured I would finish the meal then tfo. After dinner he insisted on walking me to my car and then said, "Okay. So I'll just follow you back to your place." Then I was quite shocked and a little scared for my safety, so I said okay and then ripped out of that parking lot before he could get to his car. He texted me an hour later and told me he was home lol. Never heard from him after that. I didn't realize I was on a date. My coworker mentioned we should grab dinner while finishing up a project we were working on, which seemed like a good idea because it was after work and I was hungry. While I was reading over his draft, he asked me, "How serious are things with you and your fiancé?" Well, we've set a date and I have a dress fitting coming up, so pretty ducking serious. We had been on a couple of dates and he invited me to his house to watch a movie. I showed up and he immediately brings me an ice pick. I don't like vodka and I wasn't in the mood to drink, but I thanked him for the drink and I sipped on it a little. He commented that I wasn't drinking fast enough. I said, "Oh, well, I'm not really in the drinking mood." He kept pressuring me to drink. I inspected my glass to make sure there was no residue or anything else in it. There wasn't. But when I finished he made me another without asking. I thanked him, but said that I really didn't want another. He told me not be rude and that I should have drinks with him if he's making them for me. When I finished that one I said I really don't want another. He brings me another. It's obvious that he's trying to get me drunk. He keeps trying to make out with me and I said that I really wanted to watch the movie. He keeps, literally, pulling my face towards him and shoving his tongue down my throat. I turned the other way on the couch, so I had my feet down by him and he couldn't get to my face. He then gets on the floor and walks on his methodical knees to my face and starts trying to kiss me again. I said I needed to go to the bathroom. I quietly called my best friend and told her I need her to call me back with something urgent in a couple of minutes so I could get out of a bad date. She did, and I took off. After that they kept trying to call and text me a lot and I just told him, "Look, you were obviously trying to get me drunk," and kept forcing kisses after I said I wanted to watch the movie. This is not gonna work out. I was in grade 11 and she was in grade 9. Super cute girl who made me smile and feel alive after a horrible breakup a few weeks earlier. We went to the mall to walk around, have lunch, maybe go shopping. Keeping it light for a first date. She was really into her ZOMG random phase, but I thought it was cute because it wasn't the real her. So I put up with it. But it was exhausting. After lunch she must have had this amazing idea of playing hide and seek. So when we walked by the elevator, she ran in at the last second and texted me, "Find me XD." I left.